Good afternoon, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I did my sports one early because Thursday they always have these early baseball games. Um, I don't know if I'll stick to it or not. I know Saturday and Sunday I will have definitely my football will be 10, 11 o'clock. I think 10 on for college, 11 and for the pros. Um, So gold was getting hit a little bit today, but I think we're okay. Let's take a look at our gold price. And we're due for this. I'm just glad it's not too far down. All right, it's 24.82. It's down $30. It was 25.10 and about 9 o'clock. It started dropping from 25 down to 24.74, and now it's back to 24.82, which hey Pat, how are you? Which is what we understand that the when it goes really high, we know you're going to get the downside of the derivative. There's no profit taking. There's no consolidation. This is just the way comex is set up with derivatives and options. It's just it's the nature of the beast. But there's a lot more buying pushing the price up. So now when the U.S. is trying to make their shot down from 25 down to 24, it only goes to, first it went to 24.86. And I was like, oh, good. It was almost back to 24.90. And then it hit at 10 o'clock. But once you get past 10, you're fine. That's when the U.S. does their little derivative game. So 24.82 is very good. We'll be back to 2,500 soon. But we saw this. What was it last week? It was 24.80, and we go down to 23.90, 23.80, and then 24.10, 20. And then all of a sudden, boom, it hit 2,500. So now we're in the upper 24s as the bottom, where before it was the upper 23s. And this is what Mark McGuire says. This is the way the game's working, where you're having this, they push it up, and then the U.S. does their derivatives. We have no idea. They're losing their ass, but apparently they just print money, and seems like a strange way to make money when you're losing your ass in derivatives, and these are very risky. Anyway, so 24.82 silver. If we look at the silver, it's the same. It's like the chart doesn't change. Oh yeah, about 9 o'clock it was 29.66, and it goes all the way to 28.92. Now econ calls this volatile. I don't call it volatile. I call it they're doing derivatives. If you understand it's derivatives, it's not volatile at all. They're doing put options to lower the price, and then it goes down, and then they put call options. That's the game. So it's not volatile once we get away from derivatives, but we understand silver is still very manipulated, and that's the problem with it. Gold at 24.82. So gold's very well. We'll be back to 25 soon. The shorts have to get out of some positions, as Iran could be attacking Israel anytime now. Yeah, but it doesn't affect it. The wars are not affecting the gold price. The fact that Ukraine and Russia are going at it is not affecting the gold price. The only thing affecting the gold and silver are the inflation. Is the U.S. dollar going to zero is the only thing that affects the gold price. Because as people realize this, the only lifeboat is gold and silver. So that's why. The wars don't have an effect on it. They should have an effect on it, but they don't. So that's it. Let me quickly give you baseball, which I did earlier, but just if you missed that, Yankees over 8, Washington over 8, St. Louis over 7.5, Oakland under 7.5, Pitt, Baltimore, and San Diego under 7. I finally got the pictures for the Tiger game. It would have been an under. I don't know what time that starts at. Um, well, the short. Why are the shorts even doing it? See, in a normal thing, yeah, the shorts can play their little game, and it's all in the ring fonts, as Mark McGuire would say. However, that's not what you have here. You have this huge demand for gold, which hasn't turned to silver yet until the gold price gets too expensive. So we were talking with Luke yesterday and his buddy who's got millions of dollars in his 401k. And the point was, well, that's what it is today, but what's going to be tomorrow? In other words, the Titanic hit the iceberg. So today, the Titanic's fine. Hits the iceberg, it's going to sink. Things change, variables changed. And now you've got to get off the boat to your lifeboat. And as we saw at the end of the movie, the guy had the money, couldn't, he ended up getting off the lifeboat, but the guy couldn't take the money because the money was worthless at that point. There was no lifeboats left. And that's what you got with gold. You've got the variable change. Now we've hit the iceberg and the dollar's collapsing. It's worthless. And you basically, if anything, I'd be scared of if Kamala Harris gets in. She's communist. She wants to do price fixing. So fuck the economy worse than it is now. It won't last with her. It'll go broke. And if she needs to bring out a new currency, we're in big trouble. But if that's what George Soros wants, George Soros gets what he wants, because apparently nobody can do anything to George Soros. I'm shocked he's that protected. Pat, there is no tomorrow. You have to get it now. Well, that's my point. So once the boat hits the iceberg, you've got to get into the lifeboat because there's not enough lifeboats for everybody. And so people are going to go without a lifeboat. Well, that's exactly what you have now with gold. There's not enough gold for everybody. I mean, yeah, an ounce or 2 or 5 ounces, but it's getting expensive and there's not enough to go around. And that's the problem, right? There's not enough gold to go around, but there is now. So you think, so the guy with Luke's friend with the $4 million, and what's Luke saying? Well, when it goes to 15,000, he'll buy it. No, he won't. There won't be any for him to buy. He has to recognize what's happening, that we've hit an iceberg. And this is the problem with people today. They don't realize we've hit the iceberg. They don't realize this has no value. They don't realize this has no value. Both of these are printed to zero, but they don't realize it. Right. That's the biggest thing in their mind. They don't see it doing that. So therefore they don't get that's what's happened. And therefore they think everything's fine. Well, the boat's still going. Yeah, we hit the iceberg, but we're still moving. Well, the water's coming in. Yeah, it is. Darius, she always waits till I come on. Just a second. Just a second, everybody. Just a second, I'm sorry. So just a second. Okay, sorry. Daria. Daria's my Russian girlfriend who I'm waiting to meet, and it's just been a while. But anyway. Well, see, the wise people realize, sorry, Pat, the wise people realize that you've got to look at everything and things change. You've got to accept change and you've got to handle change. So that's why I use Titanic a lot. When the boat hits the ice, when the boat hits the iceberg, there was a change, right? You're going on the water, not everything's fine, no change. Hits the iceberg, there's change. And then you have to problem solve. And you have to go, what's the problem? Water's coming in the boat. Can we fix it? No. What's the solution? We got to get off the boat and into lifeboats. Lifeboat is the answer to the problem. And that's what we have here. Has this changed? Yes, this has changed. And therefore, just a second. So when the variables change, and I talk about this in sport, I talk about this in sports a lot. It's basically, I don't know who that was. The way I explain it in sports, okay. So you've got to adapt to change. You've got to problem solve. What problems does it cause? Yeah, sorry, Pat. The Titanic hit the iceberg in September 2019. Repo crisis. Overnight, some of the big banks blew up. Well, yeah, that happened, and then, but it's still happening. COVID was a cover up, but it's the money that's losing the value that's the problem. So, what do you do? This is so you have to be quick to problem solve. You first of all, you have to realize that this is blown up, or you're in what, Singapore, so you have to. The Chinese yuan has blown up too, but you also have the um. Sorry about that. I think it's so nice to hear from her. Well, it's 10:30 in Russia right now. So there's always the Titanic. There's always an iceberg. There's always a problem. So, but you have to. So the problem here is everybody's just going on about, oh, I'm making money in this tax. It was ironic today. I'm at the gym after baseball. I came here to the gym, and now I'll do the economics. And I'm there, and I'm watching the ticker on one of these channels, and it goes Bitcoin and the stock market and some stocks. It doesn't do gold. They won't show gold at 2,500 on the ticker. I'm looking, or if they do, it's up 1% or down 1. They don't say the actual 2,500. They don't want people to know gold's going through the roof, and people are too stupid to not. If they don't see it, they don't know it. So the biggest problem I see in the world is the Titanic. They don't get that the dollar's worthless, the euro's worthless, the yen's worthless. They don't understand it. I mean, oh, prices are going up. Yeah, that's because the dollar's worthless. But they won't blame the dollar. This is the part that nobody's telling anybody. It's not the price is going up, it's the dollar losing its value because it's being printed by the government. They're trying to stimulate the economy by printing, and all that does is causes more inflation and makes the dollar worthless. So, but people don't understand that, and they won't say it. And that's your George Soros and your Keynesians. Your Keynesians believe in printing money. I'm going to print more money. That's what I'm going to do. And so you've got $2 million or $1 million or 500,000 in the bank in the stocks. Oh, everything's fine. Prices are going up. Yeah, but I'm fine. I got a lot of money. And this is the problem. They have a lot of money, but they don't know they've hit the iceberg. The Titanic's such a perfect example here. That's why I use it a lot. They don't see the iceberg, and if and the prices go up at the grocery store. I have $4 million or $2 million or I got $1 million in my 401k. I'm fine. They don't see the trouble of the dollar going to zero. They can't comprehend it because it's since 1971, even though it's losing value, which is what they say, it's not doing it. Well, that's not true, Pat. Currency is money. Gold is money. A fiat currency is not money. So this is a fiat currency, our little euro friend here. This is a fiat currency, but because it's not backed by anything, it's toilet paper, which nobody understands that. Gold and silver are money. People don't seem to want to let silver be money, but it's money. Um, Real money. But yes, fiat currencies are just toilet paper. But they buy things so people get confused. It's a medium of exchange. So if I go into medium of exchange, it's what everybody wants. It's the most marketable commodity. Um, the market decides money is marketable and value. The money functions, medium of exchange, store of purchasing power, and unit of account. You either made or you lost money. This is the master's part of the thing. So the reason this has value is it's what most people want is money to exchange, getting paid and buying things, right? Say's law says you go to work, you get something, they pay you, and then you take that and you use it at the grocery store and you pay your rent or house or buy a car, go on vacation. All that is there for I mean that's the whole point of it. But you can't fuck it up and print it to nothing. And that's what nobody understands. Well, I go to work and the company matches it and it's in the stocks. What can go wrong? Well, what can go wrong is the water's coming in the boat and the boat's going to sink is what can go wrong. And you got to get into a lifeboat, but that's what nobody understands. I'm sure they didn't understand it in Rome, and I'm sure they didn't understand it in France or Britain. After World War I, Britain didn't understand it. We don't have any more gold. We went bankrupt. The U.S. is not understanding it. We get off the gold standard in 1971. What the fuck? What are you thinking? And now we're going to pay for it violently here because it's going to catch everybody off guard. They don't see the iceberg. They don't see the water coming in. They ignore the debt because to them it's not their debt. Well, I don't owe 36 trillion to anybody. Well, not directly, but indirectly. It makes the money worthless. It makes the economy in big trouble. You can't owe it and just ignore it. So this is the problem that you run into with that. It does it creates this problem of the unknown. Oh, I know I missed the call. So that's really the problem most people have. They don't get. See, they can't see it. They can't if they don't see the iceberg, they can't see it. And this is the problem. Well, fiat currency is money from the standpoint of medium of exchange that the people in Europe, I mean, they are using this to shop with, right? But it doesn't have a value, or the value is gone where $5 could buy a lot before, it can't buy anything now. You're lucky if you bought a pack of gum with it now. That's what it is. It is theoretically it's a currency. It's money that has no value is really what it is. So you're really looking at from a value standpoint. Does this have value? And the real answer is very little. But if you're sitting on $2 million, you're getting blindsided. You think you have money, but you don't. It's worthless. It's monopoly money. So that's where the problem, that's what's going to kill everybody here, is they think they have the money, and when the money turns to zero, they're going to say, well, I got $4 million. Yeah, that'll buy you, a carton of eggs. And they don't believe that can happen here, where they don't understand it. They don't understand what gold is. And some go to Bitcoin. They don't understand what Bitcoin is. So it's a lot of miscommunication of what it is, and they don't get it. And this is basically the problem. Even if you tell people today that the water is coming into the boat, they just ignore it as it's a negative thing. Say, it's all about feel good today. Well, the bigger problem is, what do? So we'll take Attack on Wall Street, my favorite movie. So he goes to this financial guy, and he's got money from the army. He's got $60,000 he wants to invest. Where's the guy put him? In real estate trust. So as long as people pay the mortgages, he makes 6-7% until they don't pay the mortgage. And then his 60,000 goes to zero because the company, the investment bank that holds all the mortgages, these mortgage-backed securities, sell them because they're worthless, because they're only worth something if people pay their mortgages. But since you've let people get a mortgage who aren't working, with no credit score, with nothing, they can't pay them back. They just walk away from it going, oh, well, I can't afford it. I'm not going to pay the mortgage. And then, as I explained, they pay 7%, and then I pay loop 3% in the bank, and I keep 4%, and the bank's fine. So what the bank's doing is saying, look, we can't keep going, so we have to get rid of these mortgage-backed securities because we're not going to get the 7%. And then we just dump it. And then the guy's 60 grand turns to zero, which I don't know how the hell they did that. Well, I guess if they got rid of the contract, then he's got, he should have had some value. It should have gotten some money and not zero. But because his financial advisor, broker, whatever you want to call the guy, told him about it, he thinks that was a good move. He didn't know it was a shit move to do, or a shit investment, because he's not knowledgeable in it. And so when all these people don't, have money, they don't think, well, why would I get out of my money? I got $1 million. Why would I get rid of it? Why would I buy gold? Why do you think gold's going up? Oh, I don't know. I mean, if you just look at what's happening, brics and gold and everything. Pat, California wants to introduce zero down mortgage loans. I don't pay attention to California, but because Harris wants everybody to have a house. Well, who just did that? Clinton. That's what caused the whole disaster. Was Clinton said, I want everybody to have a house. And you can see what Keynesian communist does. And then he forced the banks to take the loans, which was the problem. The banks were turning down these people, saying, no, you don't have any credit. He made them do it. So he makes them take the loan so the people can have the house. Yeah, but you got to pay the mortgage on the house. These people can't pay the mortgage. And this is the insane government trying to get votes by we'll give you money. But you can't. How are you going to get the money? Well, we'll print it. Well, that'll make the money worthless. So you're printing money to give the people, but the money you're giving them is worthless. It won't buy anything. So this is the whole problem with it. So again, back to Attack on Wall Street guy, because he talks to his advisor, he doesn't understand it's a bad investment. He doesn't understand anything about money. All he knows is he's got 60 grand and he wants to make it grow. But he doesn't know who to talk to. And then if I were to come up to him and say, you should be in gold, no, my guy put me in real estate trust, I'm fine there. No, you should be in gold. You need to get out of that and into gold. And that's the concept that people really don't understand. The people here do because they've been buying some silver and gold, or I've convinced them through education what's going to happen. The dollar is going out. That's why I bring up my example. Look at Rome. So we see Rome going out. How did that happen, right? So if Rome goes out, so if we're living in the Roman Empire, everybody would have thought I'm nuts. What do you mean get out of my olive oil business? And you probably couldn't even get gold because they took all the gold and silver out of the coins. But you've got to understand the new things that hit. So when something changes, you've got to be adept at understanding and walking through what the change is and how do I protect myself. Brics. Let's walk through brics. What you can't ignore brics. So most people, well, brics won't do anything. Brics can't. Brics, that's Russia, China. Nobody. It's 5 countries. We're the petrodollar and we're the reserve currency. Well, we're not the petrodollar anymore. Are you figuring that out? No. We're not we might be the reserve currency. What does that mean? You've inflated the reserve currency. You've got a $36 trillion debt. Do you factor that in? You have BRICS coming into play as competition. So BRICS is like all of a sudden, here's Joe Burrow entering the league. So here's Mahomes, and he's, he loses to Brady, but he's good, and he gets to a Super Bowl. And then you have Joe Burrow enter it, and everybody ignores him. Wow, it's Mahomes. Oh, no. There's Joe Burrow. And that's what BRICS is. BRICS is Joe Burrow coming in. And you've got to realize that they're competition, and you've got to realize what's going to happen. And you got to realize, you got to look at the pieces. A, gold's 2,500. B, BRICS is now 22 countries, going to be 159, and they're coming out with the gold-backed currency. C, there's no more petrodollars. Saudi doesn't want dollars. They want gold for their oil, as does Iran, as does all these oil-producing countries. So look at all the pieces, and they're all there. I mean, it's very obvious you can see what's going on, right? It's all very obvious, but you got to take time to understand it. What is BRICS? BRICS is competition. BRICS is going to a gold-backed currency. How will that affect yours? What would you rather have, gold or not? Well, you'd rather have gold because you can't print and inflate gold. What's inflation? Printing the money, making it worthless, making it purchasing power, which is what's purchasing power, what you can buy with your dollar. So the purchasing power of our euro here, $5 could buy you a dinner. Now $5 buys you a pack of gum. it doesn't buy as much because it's worth less. That's purchasing power. Why? Because they printed and printed and printed the euro. So it's worthless, just like they printed the Swiss franc, British pound, the yuan, the yen, the ruble. Every currency that's paper is printed too much. And this is the problem that we understand. I understand it very, very fine. This is what I'm trained for. I'm trained to see things, and if A happens, B happens, C happens, D happens. The boat hits the ice, the water comes in, the boat sinks. We need to get on a light boat. So I can figure, that's why I'm the professor. I can figure these four things out. I can figure what's the next step. We printed the dollar to nothing. So let's just look at the US. We printed the dollar to nothing. Now what's going to happen? Well, it's going to lose value, which it has. The purchasing power is gone, which it is. $3 for a 2 liter of pop. Then we need either a new dollar or something. But then I go to the next level and I go, but all the assets will go to the dollar will go out because you can't just keep printing it. Nobody will want it, and everybody's going to want the BRICS gold-backed currency. So here's BRICS entering the equation, gold entering the equation. Well, you can't. There's nobody who would want this over gold. Nobody. Well, that's where the problem is. So the guy we were talking to yesterday with Luke with the $4 million wants dollars over gold. He doesn't get it. Let me read what you're doing, Pat. Pat, what's your odds that BRICS announces a game changer in October? I'd say about 99%. They're going to announce it October 22nd. We've already heard that many times from Mark McGuire. So that will be announced. 22 countries are joining, which we should hear in October. And therefore, yeah, I mean, it's a done deal. You can see gold going up because they are going to it, and the demand and the dollar's going out. And if you want to join BRICS, you better have gold to come to the party with. So that's why everybody's buying gold. But this to me is like 98, 99%. I'd say 100, but it was supposed to be announced in April, and they got pushed back to October. Fine, but it's coming. All these wars, what's happening in China going broke, what's happening in Russia, they all need that. So that will definitely be a factor. So I'd say it's 98%. That's why I bought as much gold as I can, and I want to buy more. We'll see. With football, I should be able to buy some more. I've been doing football for a long time, and I do pretty well selling the picks. People know I'm good at it. They make a lot of money at it. So I'm expecting to have good, unless the economy is so bad people can't afford to buy the picks. But I don't think it's for our guys. I don't think that's the issue at this point. The biggest telltale sign is the major central banks loading up like crazy. Well, there's many signs. You have BRICS, gold back. You have the 36 trillion in debt. You have gold at 2,500. Now, silver's not quite going. They're still controlling it, but I really don't know why. I think they think if silver goes, then gold goes. Well, gold's already going. You're holding them both down, so I don't think that really matters. I don't think people even understand gold and silver to sit there. And even if it did go to 10,000 an ounce, I don't think anybody would understand it. It's a 2,500. I don't, here's the guy. I got $4 million. Why should I sell it? Because the dollar's going out and there's a big difference between gold and your money. And this is the problem people don't understand it. Well, I got $1 million in stocks or my 401k, and I'm in Amazon, and I'm in Apple, and it goes up every day. And it's not real though, and it's not going to keep going up every day. Eventually, it's going to go down, and it's going to go down hard. So this is what the problem is with most people. They just don't get it. I was in an interview and I didn't get it, but I was in an interview and I said, do you realize, do you understand why gold's only 2,000 an ounce?" He says, "No." And I was about to walk. I was about to get out of the interview and leave, going, I was going to say, "You're too stupid to work for." Anybody with intelligence would understand would look into it. Have you ever wondered why it's 2,000 an ounce? No. I ignore gold. I got money. Well, your money's worthless. Oh no, it isn't. Look what I can buy with it. I can buy 1% of what I used to be able to buy with it. That's because most of these kids aren't born, they don't know the 70s when a house was a house was 25,000 in 1971, but they didn't see that. So when they're growing up, they see houses for 200 grand. So they don't really get where it came from. It's a game of musical chairs, but all the chairs are broke. So when I say Titanic is paper, because if you're in the banks, the stocks, the real estate trust, it's all paper. It doesn't have a value. This is the point that you must understand. This is why I say you don't want to get out of you don't want to get from the Titanic to the lifeboat and then out of the lifeboat back to the Titanic. So when I say that, okay, you were getting out of dollars going into gold, perfectly. But you don't want to get out of the gold back into the dollars. If you happen to need money, yes, okay, 1 ounce, use it to spend for what you want to go on a vacation, fine. And that's fine. But I don't want to sell $20,000 worth of gold to put the money in the bank and then I have 20,000 of this, which is going to zero in the bank. So I don't keep a lot in the bank. A couple thousand is it. And that's really the key to it. You just want to be careful with your money in the bank. And you don't want to get back into the dollar. So again, you have to understand what is money. What is the economy? The economy, pure and simple, is the trading of goods and services. I want a blue shirt. Somebody sells me the blue shirt. We got a market. How much is your blue shirt? Do I want to trade my money for the blue shirt? Well, I'll give you $30, $40 for it. Oh, it's $100? I'm not going to give you $100 for the blue shirt, but I will give you 30 or 40. So then it becomes trade. And that's what a market is. It's trade. You're going to work to get this, to trade this for tennis rackets, shirts, a gold chain, glasses, a phone, a computer. But you want to trade, you want to get the best bang for your buck. So you want to trade as few dollars to get the cell phone, right? To get this cell phone, you don't want to spend too much. You want to spend as little as possible to get the trade, to trade your money for the phone. And so I justify going, why do I need an iPhone? I mean, this is an Android. It's $150. It does everything. It takes pictures. I can text. I can WhatsApp. I can call, text, look at the internet. I can do everything you can do on the Apple. What am I missing? Because that's how I view a phone. It's the same thing with a car. I drive a Camry instead of a Mercedes. I can drive the car, does it, but I don't want to spend more money on a car that's going to depreciate to nothing. So the Camry is good enough. It's fine. It drives well versus spending a lot of money on a Mercedes. But again, it goes according to how much money you have. I'll take a little to buy a car, but not too much. And so we make these trade-offs and everything, right? Like, look, let's go to a Pirate game, a baseball game. Well, it depends what the ticket is. I remember I was in San Diego and we went to a Charger game. I was there from work for a conference. The tickets were like $120. Well, I was there, so I did it. But if I lived there, if it was just a regular Sunday, fuck that. Like here, the Lions, I wouldn't pay 120 to go watch them play. I wouldn't pay 5 cents to watch the Lions play. But see, that's the point. What is the trade? Well, how much money do I have? How much can I afford to give it? So when I help Daria and Jenna and I help feed them, I need money for food. I need money for life. Daria wanted a coat today. I look at what I have and can I help them out and I'll get rewarded. I know I will. And that's the trade of it. I mean, if you get married, you give your wife money. How now you might cook for her or she might cook for you. It's a trade, but that's what you do. So the whole thing is like that. It's a trade. So I'm trading my dollars for gold right now, and I think that the trade of the 2,500 for the gold is cheap because in my mind, knowing that they suppress gold for 50 years, the price of gold must be $20,000 for the ounce. But I'm thinking outside the box. I'm going, well, wait, if the Mantle card's 60 and the Rolex is 60 or more, how could gold only be worth 2,500? Oh, and then you see the put options and you see the gold drop today without any reason. There is no reason. Nobody sold an ounce of gold. If they do, they sell it to each other. So if somebody sells an ounce of gold to my guy at the store and I go and buy the ounce of gold, that doesn't lower the price and me buying it doesn't raise the price. It's all a trade. So I took my money and I bought gold with it. I traded. Now the guy with the $4 million, Luke's friend, doesn't see the value in trading his money for gold. He doesn't understand his money is going to lose value. He says, well, I got all this money. I'll be fine, provided the money doesn't lose its value, which it is. Well, how can money lose its value? If you print it, it's called inflation. It is not prices because they can show you, well, let's do year over year. Well, year over year doesn't work. Maybe in Venezuela, but here or Zimbabwe, but year over year doesn't work because, like I said, Coke went from $1.50 for 2 liter to $2.90 for a 2 liter. But it doesn't keep going. At $2.90, nobody's buying it, so they can't do another price increase. They can only do it if they can sell it. The market determines what you can sell it for. Again, I'll trade my money for a 2 liter Coke at $1.50. At $3, I don't buy as many of them. And if you raise it to $5, I wouldn't buy any of them. So I'm not going to trade my money for that. And then my costs are going up. So I now have less money to buy groceries and then pay for other things, go on a vacation, any of that stuff. I have less money to trade. And even if I keep my job, I'm making 100 grand at my job. I'm not working now, but I was. So you make 100 grand at your job, but what happens is it doesn't buy as much. You're actually getting a cut in pay because now the 100 grand's worth 80 grand. But the expenses are going up, so you're actually losing. So the gold stops you from losing. What the gold does is gold, the dollar's over here and the gold, pretend it's gold, and the gold's over here. These are two separate entities. So the dollar goes up, and this is my argument. The dollar goes up and down, mostly down, does not affect the gold. The gold price is not tied to this, only in the fact that its value is in dollars. So this is $2,500. But if this goes up, down, or sideways, this is independent, right? This is over here. This is over here. So therefore, what can the gold buy? What the gold can buy it can buy more because now it's 2,500 versus 24. And what the dollar can buy is less. The dollar can't buy anything. It's lost its purchasing power. Prices don't mean anything as far as inflation. Where they're getting that from, I don't know. Where it's year over year, I don't know. It makes no sense. Now, I'm coming to you as an Austrian economist, not as a stockbroker, salesman, banker, money guy who all I've done is sell real estate or I've sold, mutual funds. That's what most of these guys are on YouTube. They're not they don't understand that concept, right? They miss that whole concept. So do you want to hold dollars or do you want to hold gold? Well, gold is going up in value because of brics, because the dollar is going down in value, because you can't print gold. See, that's the biggest thing that they don't understand. Well, gold's been around for 5,000 years because you can't print it, you can't inflate it. There's only so much gold, but it's worldwide. The whole world has gold, and there's not enough gold for the whole world, and that's the problem of it. That's not the problem, but that's why it doesn't lose value. Where every country goes ahead and we'll come out with money and we'll come out with money and we'll print more and more and more because they think they need to print it to stimulate the economy. And the more you print, the less it's worth, the less you're stimulating your economy. But they don't understand that because very few people get Austrian economics, which is why I'm here teaching it. So this is your biggest problem. Gold will not go down in value. Gold can only go up in value because it's limited. And when you get into a situation like this, now the demand triples, quadruples. Every central bank's buying it. Not only that, I'm sure regular people, me and Luke and Nick, Bobby, were buying it. And then so you get the regular people buying it and the central banks buying it. And that's really what's going on. But the reason is because you can't print it. So if I can't print or copy the gold, there's only 255,000 tons. That's it. And if the demand is more than 255,000 tons, which it is, the price has to go up, which it is. And comex can play their little derivative games, but they keep losing on it because the price keeps going up. I mean, even if they're trying to keep it down, they can't because there's too much demand. They got to walk away from it, which they will, my guess by October. But when the brics comes out, so here comes brics saying, we're going to use gold. Where are you going to get it from? There isn't that much gold. That has to skyrocket prices. And then they're forcing, we want to join too because you're using gold and we want to get off the dollar because they are harassing us and sanctioning us. So we don't want to play with the U.S. We want to play with you guys because you're using gold. Okay, so the demand for gold just went up. Okay, you want to play, you need gold. We use a gold-backed currency. So you need to get gold to play in brics, to join brics. Demand goes up, price goes up. So in the dollar, as you print it, what happens? The price goes down. And you can't stop it. So inflation, all these funny term, deflation. There's no such term. There might be a term, but it's not what they think. It's really not prices going down. It might be. It doesn't really make sense to me what deflation really is, because prices going down is simply based on demand. If there's no demand for your house because people can't afford it, the price goes down. That's got nothing to do with the currency. And anything, the inflation should make your price go up because you need more dollar. So as the dollar loses value, now I need $3 to buy the 2-liter Coke because the money has gone down. I need more dollars to buy the Coke, right? That's what it is. So your house should go up, not down. But the reason it goes down is there's no demand because people can't afford it. So then demand goes down, price goes down. So that's why there's many things. It's not deflation. It's simply the market. It's simply people can't afford it. Like I said, if you make ribs $45 and people are used to paying $28, they're not going to buy it. It's too expensive for them. They don't have as much money as they did, but they're not going to pay $45 for ribs. So again, is that if they raise ribs to 45 and then they saw they weren't selling and now they're back to 28, is that deflation? No, it's the market. You try to sell something over market. Okay, the Camry, right? You're trying to sell it at 35,000. There's no market for it. I bought it mine for 24. There's no market for 35. So was it inflation and went up to 35? Not really. It's just the market. Nobody bought it. So it's back down to like 28. Is that deflation? No, that's the market. The market said, I am not buying it for 35. There's no buyers because my market, there's no market for it up there. Just like these Teslas, there's no market. Nobody wants to pay 100 grand for an electric car that, oh my God, I'm going to get trapped inside. It's going to catch on fire. And where am I going to get a charging station if I drive more than an hour away? And, the whole concept is just foolish. So that's not deflation, it's the market. So the inflation never goes down because you've printed the money. You're printing more money. Every 90 days you're printing another $1 trillion to pay your debt. How could inflation go down? You're adding $1 trillion to the pile, to the 21 trillion here and the 130 trillion for the petrodollar, which is now broke, and that money is coming home, which is really going to cause inflation. Because you had demand for the 130 trillion for the petrodollar, but now that's gone. So you got the 130 trillion, but nobody wants it because you don't have to pay for oil with the US dollar. You could, but you don't have to. So as those dollars start coming in, so those are dollars that there's no demand for. So how is inflation coming down? It can't because you've already printed the money. That's it. That's the inflation. I guess maybe deflation would be if you burnt the money. If you burnt 10 trillion of it, but they're not doing that. And a lot of it's digital now anyway, or not, a lot of the money isn't really printed. It's not like you don't see, I get a paycheck, it's just deposited in my account. So I don't actually see this. That's what I meant. It's not digital, but it's electric. But you still need money to cover it. If I got a $5,000 check, well, you still need $5,000. You have the $1 trillion every 90 days for the debt. You're still printing 90 trillion or $1 trillion because you owe the other countries. That's who bought your T-bills. You owe the owners of the T-bills that money. So if you're printing it or you're just hitting a switch and there it is, you're still affecting the money supply. And that's really where we're at. So it never goes down, and it can't be percentage. It's not a percentage. So that's the problem with the printing of the money and not backing it by it. But if you back it by gold, you're protected. It can never go. You can never have inflation. You won't have recessions. You won't have depressions. Probably won't have a lot of unemployment. You won't have high interest rates because the money will be static. It's backed by gold. This is how much we have. That's all we can do. We have $10 billion in gold. We have $10 billion in dollars. Again, the gold standard is if I want to take $100 and go to the bank, I give it to them, I get $100 of gold back. That's how the gold standard works. They must have the gold for the dollars. That's the protection from printing $20 trillion because you don't have gold for it, so you can't print it. Pat, my gut instinct is telling me that the silver run will shock the world. Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to see silver. Silver's about to explode. There's too much demand for it with India and Saudi Arabia with these solar panels. I was reading yesterday, China just keeps making solar panels, and they've made so many solar panels, people don't even need them. They put them as fences around their houses. So their garden has solar panels as fences. Pretty funny. But yeah, I don't think they'll be able to hold the silver down. And the more gold goes and runs, the less people will be able to afford it. And they'll turn to silver as the safe haven, as the other lifeboat. Now, talking to Luke yesterday, him thinking, well, that's when he'll buy the gold at 15,000 an ounce. He'll realize that's when he needs to buy it at the 15,000. Hey, Greg and John. But he won't. He doesn't get the point that I'd rather have gold than dollars. He's missing the whole point completely because he's still holding on to his dollars. And like these Bitcoiners, when it goes from 60,000 to 30,000, do they sell it? No, they're too stupid to sell it. They don't realize well, it'll go back up. Well, why? Why did it just drop to 30,000? You don't know. And why did it go up to 60,000? You don't know. So they won't sell it. So the guy with the $4 million as his 401k slowly goes to zero will not make sense to turn it into gold like Rumpelstiltskin. Could we went straw into gold? My buddy. So he's not going to realize it. He won't get the concept that he needs gold over the dollar, that the dollar's worthless. He doesn't get it now. He's not going to get it then. He's going to see gold. Well, gold won't stay up and the dollar will come back. He won't get the concept the dollar's worthless going to zero and his stocks are worthless going to zero. He'll watch it drop. Well, I still have 2 million. Well, I got $1 million. I got 500,000. It'll come back up. It'll come back up. Yankees win. Okay. Pat, Samsung announced some groundbreaking new silver battery. 1 kilogram silver per, I don't know what car, 9 minimum charge for 600 miles. I thought Toyota had a new battery, or Honda had a new battery. I heard a big gold bar is worth $1 million. Well, it's 400 ounces. So 400 ounces times 2,500, whatever that is. The normal bars that the banks are buying are 400 ounces. So, yeah, I mean, a ton's 32,000 ounces. So 400, I think they're 400 ounce bars. So, yeah, 400 times 2,500. I don't know. I can't do the math right now, but it'd be there. So if they're using silver, yeah, I think it's a silver battery, so they're going to need silver. So the demand for silver is twofold. One, it does batteries and solar panels, and two, it's money. People will start stealing the solar panels to get the silver out. They do that with computers and phones. You ever see that? I'll buy your phone. Give me your phone for nothing. If you want to throw out your phone, I'll take it, or your computer, because there's silver and gold in these, mostly silver. So there's silver in my phone. So people will rip it apart to get the silver, but it's such a little amount. It's probably not worth the point of doing it. But I mean, yeah, Greg John, it's just 400 times 2,500, whatever that is. Seems like it's $1 million or something. Yeah, 2,500 times 400. Yeah, that's 103 zeros. Yeah, that's 100,000 or $1 million. So that's exactly the point of it. Do you rather be in dollars or gold? The dollar's going down in value because they're printing it, right? So let's understand it. Inflation is the printing, not the prices. So the government will scam you and say, oh, well, the inflation's down. It's only 2% now. The prices have only gone up 2%. Well, you're throwing out half of the prices that went up. If you're looking at Coke, it has gone up 100% a couple of years ago, and then it just stayed there. So it went from $1.50 to $3, but it stayed $3. Doesn't mean inflation hasn't gone up. It hasn't never come down from the $1.50. You don't use year over year. Why? Who determined that? Who's the genius that said, oh, we do year over year? That's how you should do it. Sounds like these analytic guys in baseball and football. Go for fourth down every time. That's the analytics of it, right? Go for every time. Go for fourth down. Yeah, really? I don't think so. So that's what you have. You've got to get the base. We'd rather have, if I have the option of you give me a million of this, a million of that, or a million in gold, I'll take the gold every time because the gold's going up in value and these aren't. And they can't because they're going to be printed and they're going to go to zero. Like every currency not backed by gold in the history of life has gone to zero. So I have many examples where that's happened. And I take you to Venezuela, Zimbabwe, Argentina, uh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Greece. I can go on and on and on of current ones. Venezuela has the huge inflation. Yeah, that's because they printed the dollar to shit. It's worthless. That's why when you go to look at the grocery stores online, they don't have any food there because they're doing the price fixing, saying you can only charge $20 for, you only charge $5 for tuna. And they go, I can't make it for $5. I'm not going to make it. That's why you can't price fix. Now, does the guy have gold? I would imagine the president of Venezuela has gold. The president of these countries do. That's the thing. It's all corrupt, and communism doesn't work. Never has, it never will, because there's no free market. We control the market, not the government. It can't, because we're making decisions. I want a blue shirt. Do you think the government could have predicted that? No. I bought this phone. You think the government could have? The government can't predict that I bought this computer and this phone. My Gray's Sports Almanac, they can't predict that. And they can't control the prices. It's all about price control, or not price controls, but the price controls the demand. If I made this $5 for this wonderful 12-year, I'd sell 1 million bottles. If I made it $500, I'd probably sell 2 cases. So that's how the price controls the demand. And then demand controls supply. And that's why you're looking for what's the optimal price to sell it at, where I'll get enough buyers that it covers the cost of doing that, plus the 20% I'm trying to make. So for laptops, $300. For the cell phone, I got this for $150 at Walmart. My friend wanted me to get her a cell phone here. She lives in Hungary. And I couldn't because they were all locked. You can't buy the phone here and take it there. She wouldn't be able to unlock the phone to use it in Hungary because it's got a US chip in it or something. So she was disappointed, but there's nothing I could do. TK, is football on tonight? I think there's preseason, nothing regular season. Regular college starts Saturday. We got 2 games. Apparently, the Florida State game's from Ireland. I don't know why Florida State and Georgia Tech are in Ireland. And the other game is SMU and Nevada. I don't know if that's a night game or afternoon game. And then it starts the next Saturday is no, I think there's some Thursday games, and then Friday night, I know Michigan State plays, and then Saturday you start getting into the Georgia Clemson games, Notre Dame A&M, and then the first and the second. So yeah, football really hardcore next weekend, and then the pros start the following weekend. Anyway, this is the last preseason game for the pros. I don't get, like, Caleb's not playing tonight. Who gives a fuck? If anybody needs work, it's Caleb. But I won't get into too much sports in this one because that's why I do the separate sports one. But I don't know what everybody sees in him. They only won 4 or 5 games last year in the Pac-12, USC. So why are you so high on this guy? Stenson Benson won 2 national titles. What do you think? That was an accident? Anyway. So this is what you have to understand is how the market works, right? The market is about understanding what people want. That's why I don't like Tesla, what they did, because nobody really wants an electric car. Certainly not enough to do what he did and sell them at the price he's selling them for, 100 grand, 80 grand. Is he out of his mind? Who wants them? This is where I don't like Elon Musk. He doesn't understand economics. You would never have done it because you would have realized nobody. I don't know if people want an electric car, but I'm not about to make them and build a whole plan and do this and do that and sink billions of dollars into it if I don't know if there's a demand for it. So it's the supply, us, we go make the money, we have the money, that's called the supply. We're the ones who ask for stuff, and all you got to do is listen to it. Oh, he wants a pen, he wants a TV, he wants his computer, he wants whiskey, he wants chicken. I mean, whatever that is, that's what you're trying to do. And therefore, that's the idea. So if you just do that, that's how a market works. I want to buy it, you're selling it. Do I trade my dollars? Only if it's a fair trade. So if steaks are $50, I'm not giving you $50 for a steak. If they're $5, yes, I will give you. I bought a steak yesterday. It was $9.99 for a nice porterhouse. I think it was a porter, something like that. I just ate it, and it was very good. But it's $9.99. I actually bought two for $9.99. It's a good price. But that's that was worth the trade. So everything's about the trade. Would you trade $60,000 for a Rolex? Would you trade $120,000 for the Montana rookie card graded PSA 10? Would you trade $500,000 for the Michael Jordan rookie? You would if you think the price is going to go up, or you really are a diehard Jordan fan and you've wanted his rookie, no matter what it's costing, you're going to buy it, and you have the means. Like if this $4 million guy, right, Luke's friend, who's got his money in 401k. Now, if I had his money, I would take at least $2 million and buy gold with it, and then another $1 million I would go and I'd get a Rolex, because those aren't going to go down. They're very limited and very much in demand. I would look for a Mantle rookie or a Joe DiMaggio 1940s card, or something, something very limited, a Mantle card, a Willie Mays card that's PSA 9, the Montana rookie. I would get stuff like that because I can't lose in those. There's huge demand, but again, they don't understand cards. All right, so buy $500,000 worth of Rolexes, and you're fine. You can't lose with it. Low supply, high demand. It's gold. Buy a Picasso. Buy a Van Gogh. I got the Van Gogh on the wall here, the blue one over here. This one, that's a Van Gogh. It's not real. It's a poster from the Van Gogh Museum. But if I had $1 million and I could get an original Van Gogh, I'm not going to lose money on it. The demand would be huge. The key is the demand. So why do you want to hold your money in dollars where they're going to zero? And why would you want to hold in stocks where the stock market's about to crash? See, when the market crashed, I'm fine. I wasn't in the market in 2000. I wasn't in the market in 2008. I can see these things coming, and I get out of it. I mean, back in 2000, I just had my money in the bank. In 2008, I still just had my money in the bank. I didn't have my money in gold. The gold came later. Now the gold's there. So now my money's not in the bank. It's in gold. Again, I have a fear that the banks are going to crash and the stocks are going to crash. So why risk it? This is the point. So let's follow this to the world. So I'm in China and I'm a billionaire, or I'm in Russia and I'm a billionaire, or I'm in the UK and I'm a billionaire. What do I do with my money? I don't leave it in my country, China or Russia or the UK or Canada or France or Italy. Remember, I'm a billionaire. I put it in US. It's safer. It's a safer place to put it. Just as gold is safer than the dollar or the stocks or the banks, I'd rather have it in gold. It's safer. And I'm going to make a fortune on it anyway, but it's also safety. I can't lose on it. It's not going to go down in value. It can't because there's too much demand and it's too limited in supply. So that's all I'm saying is you have to differentiate between keeping your money in dollars or stocks or your 401k and putting it into a safe place that, by the way, you're going to lose money. He's going to lose money. The guy with the 4 million will lose money. And then the question is, if he's in gold or a Rolex, he's going to make money. So his 4 million will make a lot more money in gold or Rolex than he's going to do in the stock market while the dollar's going to zero and everybody's pulling their stocks out because they don't want to be in US dollars anymore. I mean, the cure case of the $36 trillion debt, if you don't understand that, you obviously don't understand finance, which is fine because you probably weren't taught it. So why would you know it? But you've got to understand it. You've got to at least identify, yes, there is a $36 trillion debt. I really don't know how it's going to affect me, but I got an idea it's going to. Yeah, because they're going to keep printing money to pay the interest until they default, and then it's all over. Nobody will want to deal with you. That makes your money worthless, right? So if let's say you want to buy my picks. Okay, well, Howard, I don't have money. How about if I'll buy them this week, but I can't pay you. I'll pay you in 2 weeks. Okay. So I give you 2 weeks to pay it, but then you don't pay me. You default. You think I'm going to sell you picks again? I need the money. You give me the money and just go buy the picks the way you do. I'm not going to give you credit. I'm not going to wait a week or two for you to pay me after you defaulted. And that's what's going to happen. The U.S. is going to sit there and they're going to default. And then, well, we need money. Well, I'm not stupid enough to give it to you. I don't want your bonds. You're not going to pay me. I don't want to be in your stock. I don't want anything to do with the dollar because you defaulted on me. So therefore, there's nothing. Why would I give you money? Why would I loan you money? Your credit's worthless. How are you going to run with no credit? So everybody thinks, oh, they'll just default, no big deal. Oh, yes, big deal. Because then, just like I said, if you promise me money and you don't pay me, that's it. You want to buy my picks, you buy my picks. There's no more credit. I don't trust you. And once I lose trust with you, you're dead. And it's the same thing here with everything else. You default on the money and all the countries are going to fucking bomb you. They're going to be, China's not going to just walk away, or Japan or Germany, whoever has your debt, who are buying your T-bills, are not going to be happy, and you'll never get anybody else to buy your T-bills, which is what you need to spend because you spend more. Your budget isn't balanced. So you get $1 million in and you spend 2 million. I know it's in trillions, but you spend more than you make. You're fucked. So therefore we don't, so we're not going to help you. Pat, doesn't the Fed buy their own bonds? Well, that's what's happening now. Nobody will buy them. So they put the bonds on sale because they are spending more than they're getting in, which adds to the debt, and nobody wants them. So the Fed's buying their own. So it's like me selling this card, putting it on auction on eBay, and I'm the one who buys it. I'll put it out there for $1,000 and I'll buy it for the 1,000. Yeah, I'm making money though. What are you talking about? I'm the one buying it from myself. So yes, that shows you there's no demand for the dollar and there's no trust in the government. I don't trust you're going to pay me back, and I don't trust your dollar's going to have value. That's another thing that you don't need to be an economist to look at and go, oh, reason number 18 to get off the Titanic. So you got the big debt. You've got no gold backing your currency. You've got brics just waving at you going, we're going to make a gold-backed currency. You're fucked. You got no more petrodollars, so all the dollars are going to come back. I mean, I noticed it at the grocery store last week. All of a sudden, everything was a little bit more. The things I normally buy, my tuna and my veggies, my fruit was a little bit more. I said, huh, tuna just went up from 440 to 490 or something. Huh. So I'm noticing that eggs are a little bit more expensive. I don't buy milk. I buy half and half. That was a little more expensive. Um, so look at what's happening. If you just use your logic, you'd be off that Titanic, a year ago. I started doing this 3 or 4 years ago. The economics. I always did the football, but the economics, as I saw what was happening, I'm trying to warn you, and that's really what it is to get out early, which I did. Right, I start selling my dollars for gold at $1,500-$1,600 an ounce. But I had to stay stoic where I knew it was going to go up because I knew what was happening because I understood what inflation is. You're printing the money. Here comes Biden. Well, he's doing 5 trillion of this and 2 trillion of that. I go, that's the end of the dollar. You can't just print $5 trillion and have any value. You can't do that. So once you start understanding, you have to be stoic. I know it's going to go up. It's 1,500. It's 1,600. I bought this at 250. Was a different. This was my graduation present for my master's in economics and finance. So this was not made to buy it because it's 250 an ounce and then sell it later. Make money on it. This was strictly a graduation present to myself. I was going to get the class ring. The class ring was $800, and it wasn't gold. And this is gold, and it was 500. I'm going, well, I'll take the gold. That's what I just got my master's in, is buy real assets. And I finally understood what inflation was. And boy, did that was the best learning experience I ever had, where I wanted to keep going. I was like, okay, I know I got my degree and I got my master's, but I want more. Can I just come to classes? Like, I want to take 5 more classes because it was so fascinating what I was learning. As you can see, I can regurgitate it on command. Pat, so hyperinflation kicks in after October. Yeah, I would imagine so. I think they'll hold it till after the election, and then it's going to hit. So right now they're being very coy because of the election. If all of a sudden you had hyperinflation, I think Trump would win. I don't think anybody would vote for Harris. But that's why they're holding the stock market up. Look how the economy's doing. Look at the stocks, 40,000. The stock market's never been higher. And people are so stupid that they somehow correlate the stock market to a good economy. Even though inflation's high, interest rates are high, the dollar has lost its value, the debt's 36 trillion, but you know what? Geez, the stock market's doing well, so therefore the economy must be doing great. Well, why do we have 5.5% interest rates? Why is inflation 20%? Well, I don't say, well, who knows what it is? It's much higher than 20%. It's not even a percent thing. It's basically, don't even call it inflation. You basically just say the dollar's not worth anything. I think that's really the only way to really call it inflation, is to say, forget the percentage of the cost of the prices in inflation. Is what is this worth? This is what it's worth. It's worth 1 cent. You've taken a dollar and made it worth a cent. That's what you've done. Not Putin, not the Chinese, not Taiwan, not Israel. Nobody except for George Soros and the boys have made the dollar worthless. So forget the term inflation. It's the dollar has no more value. And the whole reason they do interest rates to slow inflation is because they want to bring the cost down. So their interest rates don't even correlate to inflation, right? Well, we've slowed the economy by raising interest rates because now the costs go down. That's not inflation. The fuck are you doing? That's not inflation. Jesus Christ. And why are you even calling it inflation? Just what's the dollar worth? Oh yeah, a penny. Oh yeah, you're doing a great job. And then you raise interest rates. What's the dollar worth? Less than a penny. I guess that didn't work, did it? But as it makes our costs go up, then that's really what causes the problem. That's what causes your recession, depression, and unemployment and everything else. Is it's still $100, but it doesn't buy you anything. Now all the costs. So what cost you $10 now costs you 15. Well, I still only have 100. So that's $5 that I'm paying my utility bill that I can't use to go buy a tennis racket or go on a trip or go do this or go do that. That's the real problem. So that's what you must understand. And that's what I'm trying to hammer home. So the guy with the $4 million, Luke's friend, what he's telling Luke is I'd rather be in dollars than in gold. And what do we say? No, you don't. Because they can't fuck with gold. You can't lose value with gold. It can only go up because they're not printing it. And the dollar can only go down because you are printing that. And with the petrodollar gone and the debt, as I said, and BRICS, the dollar can only go down because it can't handle the competition. There's more dollars, which makes the value of it go down. And then BRICS comes out with gold-backed currency. It's got to raise the price of gold. So why would I rather be in dollars than gold? You've got to be out of your mind. Well, gold's never done anything. Do you realize it's been price fixed by derivatives since 1972 or 3? Do you understand that? Oh no, I didn't. I thought gold's gold. There's paper gold and physical gold. Oh, I didn't know that. And that's 99% of the population of the US have no idea that the derivatives are driving the price of gold, not the market. It's one of the few, the Montana cards and the Rolexes are done by the market. That's why they're worth 50, 60,000. As the dollar declines, the Rolex goes up, the Mantle card goes up. But why isn't gold going up? Oh, because you're depressing it, because you're controlling the price. Okay. You can't keep doing it. So now look out. It's going to really run, especially with BRICS, what they're doing, and the dollar collapsing. Pat, do you see a scenario where the derivatives, gold and silver prices go to zero or the price freezes? No, it's impossible. How could that happen? Okay. So how can something go to zero? All right, let's analyze your problem. How can it go to zero? Well, how can this go to zero? Oh, because they printed too much of it. So if they're printing this, it'll go to zero. How can gold go to zero? There's tremendous demand for it. And who's going to say it's worthless when China's got 60,000 tons and let's say BRICS has 150,000 tons of gold? They're going to let it go to zero. They're going to say it's not worth anything. The market doesn't work like that. The market controls it. And in the market, if they were going to do it, they'd do it. They would have done it already, right? Oh wait, gold's at 2,500. They're trying to price fix it now, and they can't. So if you really think Putin's going to let gold go to zero with his 20,000 tons, and she's going to let it go with his 60,000 tons, and Saudi Arabia and UAE and India, you think they're going to let the gold go to zero? Plus all the jewelry that the Indians sell, right? There's the whole September, October is all wedding season, and they all buy a bunch of jewelry. Do you think they're going to have gold go to zero? See, you can't control the market like that. Now, can you price fix it to zero? Well, that's impossible, but you really can't. Even when they try, and they come out with price fixing, it doesn't last. And if there's you've tried the sanctions on Russia. How did that work? Well, they just don't sell with the US. They sell with China and they sell with India and they sell with Saudi Arabia. So there's a way around it. So you would just simply, go to Russia, and in Russia, gold's 20,000 an ounce. Oh, I'll sell it there then. Because it's a global thing. Now, maybe in the US, you can price fix a 2 liter of Coca Cola for 99 cents. Okay, maybe you can do it. It's not going to be free. You got businesses doing it. So I don't see how you can possibly do gold. There's too much demand. It's worldwide. So all these countries with gold aren't going to just sit there and go, yeah, gosh darn it, you're right, it's worthless. I mean, that's impossible. Where do you come up with these strange questions? Oil went to zero in 2020. And what's it at now? 90, 100? That was a bullshit zero. I don't recall that, but I never paid zero for oil at the gas pump. I didn't mean the physical price of gold. Actually, oil went to negative 40 in the derivatives market in April 2020. That's the same bullshit with comex with gold, but I don't recall that. But it's at what, $90 a barrel now. And was that what, for one day or was it for a long period? I don't know. I didn't pay attention to it. But that's, that's what they're trying to do now, run the derivatives and run gold down. But what happens? It keeps getting bought up. Oil, believe me, do you think the OPEC nations are seeing oil at negative 40? Okay, so I go to the gas pump. What, they're going to give me $20 for every gallon I pump? Yeah, and physical can't. And really, we don't have a physical price. We just have the paper price, the derivative price, and I honestly don't see where that's. They're trying to control it. They can't. But the dollar's going to go away because of BRICS, because everybody wants to be. You got 159 countries want to join it because they want to have gold. They don't want to have the dollar. And every time they attempted gold, the U.S. would kill the president of the country, like Saddam Hussein or Gaddafi. They got killed because they wanted a gold-backed currency. So the other countries are going, hey, I guess we won't do that. But now they can do the gold. They can get the gold through BRICS, and now they're like, oh, okay, yeah, let's do that. That's what we wanted to do probably for 40 years. They don't want to, nobody wants to be bullied by the U.S. Oh, for 1 hour? Oh, okay. So where do you come up with this example? I think the derivatives market will lock up the whole system. The whole thing freezes up. Nah, nobody will care about the derivative market. They'll just go to the Shanghai Gold Exchange. That's where competition comes in, and they'll say, we're going to use that price, the price that BRICS sets, and that's the price I'm going to use. I'm not going to look at COMEX. Now, I don't have a choice. Why is there no physical price of gold? It's fucking ridiculous. Well, the derivatives that control the price of gold. And how is this gone on that there is no physical price of gold? Are you kidding me? I mean, that's just incredibly weak, incredibly corrupt. I mean, they make Madoff look like a Boy Scout, these people. Where did I go to school? I went to Walsh College. It's a accounting and business school in Troy, Michigan, but they don't teach Austrian economics anymore. I don't think they do. I don't know if my teacher's there anymore, but I was in an interview with one of these jobs, and we both went to Walsh, and I said, oh, I love Professor Verizon. He was great at economics, and the guy who was interviewing me didn't like him. It's another, like, I'm glad I didn't get that job because it wouldn't have lasted. I mean, how do you not like the guy? I mean, he explained it. And this is the problem I'm having in these interviews. These guys are very weird. These younger guys, they're all Keynesian, communist, and I don't fit in anyway. So I'm just waiting for this goal to go up, and then I can tell them all to fuck off. But yeah, I mean, I give you enough information what I'm teaching you here if you'd listen. And then Adam Smith, as I showed you on YouTube, he has two. There's two good videos. He's got a book I showed you, The Wealth of Nations. You can read that. It's just about free trade. It's about we're the market. We make decisions. Having sound money. Again, I'll give you two things. So the medium of exchange is what everybody wants. That's how we came out with dollars. It's what everybody wants. And it's just the exchange. I exchange my labor for money to go buy food. So how do I buy food? Well, I need to make money. So that's why I go to work, or that's why you gamble, or that's why, you do a lot of things to make money. I go mow the lawn or something to make money so you can eat, you can buy things, you can pay rent. That's how the system works. So again, a medium of exchange it's got to be portable. So it's got to be, you can put it in your pocket. It can't be a cow, although it used to be a cow. It's got to be scarce. So it's got to be limited to hold its value. It's got to be divisible so you can buy, a gumball with it or a house with it. It's got to be fungible so it's replaceable. So there's another dollar and another dollar. They're all the same dollars. It's got to be the same. It's got to be accepted. If I go to Kroger's and buy the food, they'll take it. And if I go get barbecue, they'll take it. And if I go get a pizza, they'll take it. Or if I want clothes, they'll take it. So it's got to be accepted, which is Bitcoin's problem, is it's not. And it's got to be durable. Well, gold's the most durable thing you have. So it can't wear out. So as long as you keep this in your wallet or your credit cards or gold, it doesn't wear out. Now, what you need for a strong country, where do I want to live that has these wonderful rules? So the country has 5 things. They must have low taxes, a lower government spend and be able to keep a budget. So if we're going to spend $1 million, that's how, if we're going to take in $1 million, we can only spend $1 million, but there's got to be low taxes. Got to be a gold standard. You must have good money or it's going to be corrupted. It's got to be free trade. So if I want a fur, I'm going to trade for spices or whatever. And a constitution rule book for law. So you got to have a law. So we understand the game we're playing. And they keep trying to change the law. They keep trying to change the Constitution with these amendments. It's ridiculous. But that's the country you want to live in. You want the gold standard because this is where the corruption comes in. As soon as you fuck with the money, it makes it corrupt, then the whole game's gone. So you can't play the game. So that's economics, basically. Those are really keys to it. The other subjects I talk are gold versus fiat money, deflation, inflation, interest rates, free markets, Keynesian economics and Austrian economics, where one's government run and one's free market. We run it. And then Bitcoin versus gold. What's wrong with Bitcoin, which I kind of explained. The Titanic, we've been talking a lot. De-dollarization. Nobody wants the dollar. So you're running a fruit stand and nobody wants your fruit. That's de-dollarization. So you got a fruit stand with bananas, but nobody wants the bananas. So everybody goes to the other store where there's apples. That's de-dollarization. So I don't want your dollars, and therefore, since I don't want them, I'm going to go get something else. And everybody's like, oh, you got to have the dollar. No, you don't have to have the dollar, especially when there's gold-backed currency out there. So again, paper gold, physical gold, inflation, cause and effect, the Titanic again. Pat, you're an excellent teacher. Thank you very much, Pat. I do my best. Aristotle theory on money. Greg John, TK, you should teach this at Wallace College. Well, I don't know if I can, and I don't know if they have an opening, because I don't know if they'll allow me to teach Austrian economics. But I'm trying to teach it here, but I can't really, I'm not getting people that are wanting to take the class, or they hear this and they go, well, I don't need the class. I'm listening to the class here. We'll say. Aristotle, he came up with the properties of sound money. Well, those are the properties of sound money I just gave you. The six properties of sound money is what I just said. The economics I took was horrible. Well, it was Keynesian. So, as I say, when people start talking to you, you say, are you Austrian or Keynesian? Or are you classical and Keynesian? They won't know what you're talking about. Everybody in school learns Keynesian economics. That's communism, and that's not the free market. That's the government controlling prices and controlling the market. And then they put all these graphs and charts. Have you ever seen me put up a graph? And you never will. But they do all these charts and they call it these funny words, propensity and inelastic and elastic. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And guess what? I don't care. It's not economics. Whether a price, so I think there's if a steak goes from 10 to 20, you don't buy it. But if gas were to go from $3 to $4, you still must have the gas, so you'll pay more for it. I don't know which one's elastic and which one's inelastic, but it doesn't matter to me. That's the market talking, and you substitute away from the market until you can. I can't substitute gas, but I can substitute gas stations. The gas station on the a mile away from me is like 3.79. But if I go 5 miles near the gym where I swim, it's 50 cents cheaper. So where do I go? I save 50 cents by going to this one. And that's basically what it is. You end up going, you end up substituting. So like I said, there was a New York strip, $16, and I got I think it was a porterhouse or something like that, whatever they call it, and it was $9.99. It had a little, it wasn't a T-bone, but it was like a T-bone. It was $9.99. So I took the one that's $9.99. I don't care. I want to have a steak. I don't, it doesn't have to be a New York strip or the other. Yeah, they're both good, but I didn't have to get for $6 cheaper. I'll buy the porterhouse versus the New York strip. But if you put the New York strip on sale for 10, I'll buy 5 or 6 of those, throw them in the freezer. And that's the difference. Pat, silver is inelastic too. The companies need it for any price. Otherwise, they have nothing to sell. Well, I agree. That's why I don't know if they're keeping the price down so they can buy the silver to make the catalytic, to make the electric batteries and the whatever, the solar panels. I don't know why I struggle with that word once in a while. They need it, and we need it for the Tomahawk missile. So are they keeping the price down so they can make those? But those should be at market. Like everything else, it should be at market, and whatever the market dictates is what they got to pay for it. That's why they don't use gold in the solar panels. I'm sure gold would work better, but at 2,500 an ounce, the solar panel would cost you, $5,000 for a solar panel. So that's part of the reason they're keeping the silver price down, is so they can buy it. But the problem is it should be market. You can't just keep the price down to keep the price down. So that's what will blow up, because they're going to need more than there is. That's your silver squeeze. So they're going to need 2,000 tons and or 200 tons or 500 tons to make their solar panels. There won't be any. And I know China's hoarding a lot of silver, so that'll eventually break also. They won't be able to, because they don't have the supply. So it'll end up, we need it, we'll pay whatever, and then it'll start shooting up. Why they're controlling silver price, I have no idea. I mean, that just doesn't make sense. Just let it go to market. Why are you controlling that? And you're not controlling steaks and you're not controlling oil. Well, I think they are a little oil, but you're not doing shirts, you're not doing jewelry. So why do you care what price silver is? And then why are they letting them control it? This is where the silver miners are a bunch of idiots. They're letting them buy it for $28, $29 an ounce, or they could easily be $2,000 an ounce. So I don't know. These silver guys are probably very corrupt, and they probably are getting paid off by JP Morgan to keep the price down. That's the only thing I can think, but it ain't going to stay. Eventually, it will blow up like everything else. You can only hold it down so long, and eventually, demand, if enough people want it, it blows it up. So there's no way gold and silver are going to zero, and eventually silver will hit the $2,000 mark based on the demand, not only for to make the solar panels, but for the money. When gold hits 10,000 an ounce, people get out of dollars, realizing, when the guy with the 4 million, when the light goes on, that his 4 million is now 1 million, he needs to get out of it. And the price and the light goes on, gold will be too expensive for him. He'll buy silver. And that's really the key to it. There is no substitute for silver. I agree with that, especially for solar panels. Silver is a no-brainer to load up. Yeah, you're just waiting for it to go through the roof. I mean, that's what we're doing. But it's money, just like gold. So the same reason we're buying gold, we're buying silver. It's not as manipulated in comex because they made it a tier 1 and they made it a Basel 3, which says if somebody takes delivery, you got to give it to them. That's not the case in silver. That's why silver is taking a little bit longer to do. They have to control silver because it's also a monetary Achilles heel of the fiat system. Well, yeah, I guess, but let's see. What's our goal at? $24.84 still. Silver $28.98. Well, I don't know if it's the Achilles heel. Again, if silver went to $100 an ounce, would you not have dollars? Dollars are the medium of exchange, so you need dollars to go to Kroger's, not silver. So I'm not quite sure it's the Achilles heel. Gold at 2,500, is that really making a difference? I don't know. But why doesn't Rolex fuck up the dollar, right? These Rolexes are huge now, $50,000, $60,000, but yet it's not affecting the dollar. It's the same asset. See, gold and silver are assets. Now they're money, but they're assets. Just like the Mantle card, just like the Rolex, they're assets, and they have nothing to do with the dollar. The Rolex at 50,000 does not affect the price of the dollar. The only thing that affects the dollar is the printing of it. Is the government going, oh, we need another $1 trillion, let's print another trillion and make our dollar worth even less. This is really the problem. So I don't see that as really any effect on silver. So silver goes to $100. Are you getting out of your? Look at this idiot with the 4 million. He's in his 401k. Gold now hit 2,500. Did he sell it for gold? No. He doesn't understand gold. He thinks, oh, I got $4 million. I'm fine. I'd rather be in paper than gold. So if gold were to hit 3,000, would he get out of his 401k? No. If silver were to hit $500 an ounce, would he get out of his 401k? No. He has no concept, right? He thinks the dollar will be fine and everything's rosy. I got $4 million. He doesn't understand the game is keeping the 4 million. Once you get it, to keep it. Same thing as the battle at the casino. I go and I'm playing poker and I start with 300 and I play 1-2 no limit. And if I get to $1,000, now the game's changed. My goal is to keep the 1,000. I'm not looking, if I could win more, fine. But my role now is to keep the 1,000. And usually I just leave because I go, well, I got to play aces. And if the guy hits a set on me, I'm fucked. And I know that's going to happen. So there's really no way to play hold'em safely. You either fold every hand of what you're not playing, or you once you start checking, you're fucked. I'll give you a quick poker story. Let me read Pat's. the silver would go to $100, you would have a stampede in Asia. What kind of stampede? Out of, well, what's your currency? You're in the yuan, or are you in Singapore, or what? You're in your dollar. So you're going to sell your dollar for silver because it's 100, but you're not. There's no stampede at 30. If the stampede should be at 30. So I'm not quite sure I follow that. Does that people then realize it has a value, but it doesn't have a value at 30? I don't know. I'm not following that. Um, Either you understand gold and silver's value or you don't. Like I said, so let me give you this poker story. So I played poker for years since I was like 13, but I played 7 card stud and high low and games like that. So I'm the master at it. And then Hold'em comes. So I go to the casino 5, 6 years ago and I start playing Hold'em. The problem is you have to bet. You can't check or just bet $5. So I'd have like 2 pair. I'd see the flop, I'd get 2 pair, but there'd be four hearts, 4 spades, or 4 cards straight. I wouldn't bet the guy out. I would sit there and just check, and then he hit his straight or flush, and I'd be with 2 pair. And I'd be all proud, I got 2 pair, and he'd go, I got a straight. And I let him catch it. So the way to play Hold'em is you must protect your cards by being aggressive, making the guy pay to see his card, and he won't, because the odds are not in his favor. He's going to hit. But if you make it for $5, he'll see it. Just like we're talking about money, if you keep the price down, people will buy it. And so if you keep silver at 30, people will buy it. But if it hits 200, I would think more people won't buy it than will buy it because it'll be too expensive. Silver, a buying frenzy in China and India and Southeast Asia. Fear of missing out. Aren't they having a fear of missing out now? Aren't they having a fear of holding their dollars, them going out? See, the real fear is this going to zero or this going. This is the fear that they should be having, but they're not, because they don't believe this will go to zero. This is where the big mistake is. There is no fear. My fear is to get out of the bank before I can't. My fear is the bank will say I can't get my money out, or I know it's not worth anything. That's my fear. And I'm in gold waiting for it to go up. So I have a different fear than they do. Once I bought my gold and I'm singing and dancing and putting it in my safe, I'm fine. The fear that I had was being in this shit, right? My fear was I'm going to get caught with this. So I don't know why they have a fear of missing out. They should realize what silver is and be buying it at $30 an ounce. When handstands and cartwheels down the street going, yeah, I got my silver. They should be collecting silver like Luke does and I do and you do. That's what they should be doing, not, it's like the Titanic. Nobody believed it was going to sink, even after it hit the iceberg, even after the water was coming in. Oh, well, this is unsinkable. And the guy saying, I guarantee you it's going to sink, and it's going to sink soon. But people, until the boat was like 90% in the water, did they go, oh, it's going to sink? What the fuck did you think was going to happen? All the water's coming in. Did you not think? So that's my point on silver. Why would you wait till it hit 100 to buy it? Do you not think it's going to go up? Do you not understand whatever your currency is? The Indian rupee is gone. It's heavily inflated. The yuan is gone. It's heavily inflated. I don't know what you use in Hong Kong and Singapore, if it's the yuan or they have your own currency. But I'm sure it's heavily inflated. All the currencies backed by gold are heavily inflated, going to zero. So wouldn't your fear be I'm in the dollar versus I'll miss out when silver hits 100? When it's 100, you've already missed out. It is interesting the different fears because that fear should not. Um, and I think that's. But what does it got to do with the dollar? I mean, your fear of missing out in the silver has nothing to do with your fear of whatever currency you're in. So in India, it's the rupee. What is your fear of the rupee? If you're not afraid it's going to collapse because it's heavily inflated. I looked today, it's like $83. So a dollar, a US dollar, which is heavily inflated, buys you 83 rupees, which are extremely inflated. Isn't your fear that you're going to get caught with the rupee going to zero? Wouldn't that be more of a fear than buying silver at 30, waiting for it to go to 100? Yeah. See, this is the problem with people. They don't think the dollar can go to zero. They trust the government, or I don't know. I have a bigger fear of the government than I do of silver going to 100. So that's really the issue. There is the fear of missing out. It's the fear of getting caught holding the dollar worth zero. I mean, that's really what it is. It's just they don't get it. They just don't understand the fear of the dollar going to zero. Should be the fear, should be what you're worried about. Oh, it won't go to zero. Yeah. It didn't in Rome. It didn't in France, Spain, England, Zimbabwe. It didn't in Venezuela. It didn't in Argentina. Yep, all these countries, the dollar didn't go to zero. No, no, no. I haven't seen it. Never happened. Well, they're not the reserve currency. I love how the excuse is they're not the reserve currency. Oh, okay. Then why are you holding the price of silver down? If it's the reserve currency, it can't go anywhere. Why are you holding the price of silver down? Why do you keep hitting it with derivatives when the demand is there to drive it to 10,000? Well, to drive it to at least 1,000 an ounce. And I don't know why people have a hard time understanding silver going past $50 an ounce. It's a limited asset that there's should be huge demand, at least in the solar panel, electric battery, telephone, computer industries needing silver. So why is it not the same issue? Why are we keeping the price down? Oh, it can't go over 50. It can't go to 100. Not in my lifetime, Yankee Doodle Dandy guy. Oh, not in my lifetime. Yeah, bullshit. Within 3 months, it's going to be 100. Come October, say bye-bye to it. But this is what these guys don't get. Well, the price you're looking at is a fixed price. It's not a free market unless you're saying there'll never be a free market price. But we know that that's not true because we know the dollar's going out and it will be a free market price. So I never have for an instant that gold's going to lose its value and drop or silver once it's not manipulated. Gold's less manipulated than silver now. I have no doubt. Well, we can see every time it starts going down, they kick it back up. It's 24.84. That's being price fixed down, and that's it was 25. It went to 24.80. Now 24.84. Yeah, it's not going anywhere. They did it. They just tried price fixing it. It didn't work. It's not going to work. But that's my fear. If I have the 4 million in my 401k, my fear is the dollar collapsing or the stock market collapsing because I understand what's happening. And people who just think it's just going to keep going up and up are fucking idiots. They're clueless. They really don't understand it. Anyway, so that's really what money is, what economics is. Economics is me trading, me buying an apple, me making money to have money to buy things. And then you come up with a price, and then I determine if it's a fair trade. Yeah, $9.99 for the steak. Yeah, $17 for the New York. No, that's too high. I'm not going to trade my money for the steak. Now, as you have more and more money, then you will not look at that price as much. So if I was a millionaire, I'd be going, oh, so who cares if it's $17 for New York trip? That's what I want. Price is not an object. I ain't there yet. Hopefully, after gold does its thing and silver does its thing, then I won't care what New York strip sells for. But at this point, yeah, definitely is an issue. What else? So that's really the central bank is totally corrupt, totally illegal, not in the Constitution. Banking, like I explained, somebody gives me money, I go invest it, and the people I invest it, I expect to get paid back, and then I can pay the guy who gave me the deposit. That's how a bank works. Central banks only really there for the other banks. That's why I don't understand this CBDC. They only deal with the banks. They don't deal with people, the central banks. So I don't get this whole, they'll come out with digital currency. So I go to Wells Fargo and all of a sudden my account goes to digital. And then I just use it the way I do, where I just use my credit card, my debit card. It's instead of electric money, it's digital. But if I need $500, I can't get it. I don't know. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt a lot of like the strippers and all the cab drivers, all the people that work with money. It's gonna. How are they supposed to get paid? So this will be interesting. But anyway, I'm not sure. I know what's happening and I know what's coming, and I'm much scareder of being in dollars than being in gold. I have no fear of gold going to zero. It'll never happen. Never in a million years. Never has gone in 5,000 years. They've been price fixing it and it still goes up. So 1940s, it was $20 an ounce or whatever. 71, it was $32 an ounce. And now it's 2,500 an ounce. And you're worried it goes to zero? No, 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 no. The CBDC is not even money. It's, I guess it's like Bitcoin in the fact it's money. How are you going to come up with a value? Will the restaurants accept it? And that's the idea. As far as programmable, I don't know about that. That's a bit much. I don't see how they can program it. If I want to go golfing, I'm going to go golfing. Because the businesses aren't going to stand for it. So I run a golf course. Do I have to take digital? I mean, because a lot of businesses are corrupt. They want to take the money and pocket a lot of it and not pay tax on it, right? Chinese, I love when Chinese rings the register and nothing happens. They run your card. They don't run it through the register. I love that. I'm not worried it goes to zero. It's impossible in physical. Yeah, well, it's impossible anyway. But yeah, comex does its derivative, so they don't want it at zero either, because if it's at zero, how can they do their put derivative? They can't make it go lower. They can only make it go up, but they don't want it at zero. But that doesn't benefit anybody by having it at zero. Yes, it's competition for the dollar, but not really. Not any more than a Rolex or a Mantle card. Are they competition for the dollar? No. If anything, the biggest competition is a house, where I buy a house instead of putting my money in the bank, and then I'm using the house as my investment. So it's more of the house than that. But I was watching a video today. Canada's broke. England, France, Germany, all these countries are broke. $24.85. It'll come up. Let's see. So Russia, this whole thing with Russia and the Ukraine, where Ukraine took Kursk, it's all bullshit because Russia's destroying the Ukraine troops in Kursk. So they let them take it. They let them play their hand, and now they're killing them. So that's bullshit. Russia has won this war. It's 73-0. All the propaganda. Oh, here comes the Ukraine with a counter. Yeah, right. Good luck with that. Here is one: the Great Depression in Beijing. I won't play it, but maybe I will. Six strange things in Beijing and and Shanghai. The Great Depression in Beijing. So there is a huge. People can't find jobs and food. They're showing how they're not eating because they can't afford it. Pat, the CBDC will be able to track and trace you and determine what you can spend it on, in what location, and when. You can also get instantly taxed. I see. I don't buy that. I think that's just a story. It's a wives' tale. They cannot control your spending. Uh, as far as track and trace, I don't buy that either. If I go golfing, are they gonna? Oh, he's on the golf course. Like, it's sort of like now when I text Daria. I mean, they know I text her, but they're not reading it unless they need to. So if the guy who shot Trump, then they start digging into his stuff, but they don't give a shit about me. There's 350 million Americans. You think they're going to look at every one? No, that's all a fairy tale. And you think the guy I go to the barbecue to eat dinner, you think he's not going to take my money? Oh wait, CBDC says you can't eat here. Yeah, bullshit. That'll never work. There's no control they can do, but it's a nice wives' tale. It's like saying there's no inflation. It's at 1%, or the dollar can't collapse. It's the reserve currency. I mean, that's the same bullshit that they're telling you. And why do you believe that? There's no way that the businesses are going to allow this to happen at the end of the day. So you got Bill Gates. So I can't buy a Microsoft computer, Bill. It won't let me. Yeah, how long is that gonna last for? So I don't buy that shit. It's a scare tactic, but there's no way. First of all, the central banks. It's not going to be here because the banks will never allow it. But in most countries, the banks are going to be the banks aren't going walking away because of the central bank. That's not going to happen. And if you're in Russia, you're probably being tracked and monitored anyway. So why is that a big deal? And they want you to spend. So I don't see why that would be. They're going to not. And this taxing, how are they going to tax you? I mean, they do sales tax. That's what they do now. If I buy something, there's sales tax on it. I get taxed at the register. So how is that any different than what we're talking about? The Bank of International Settlements is in the process of rolling out. No, they're not. Sorry. The process is nowhere near. It's just a thought. They're nowhere near rolling it out and all that. It's a bunch of bullshit. How are they gonna? So they're gonna let me make sure I understand this. So you think that the Bank of International Settlements has nothing better to do than monitor 10 billion people, and they have the capacity and enough staff to do that, and all the different countries. Sorry, Pat. I'm not. I don't smell what you're cooking, Pat. That's purely bullshit. Now, I imagine you heard that somewhere. I'm not saying you're bullshit, but it's bullshit. That'll never happen. A million years. They're just trying to scare you, and you're believing it. So you can't believe everything you hear. So let's look at this Great Depression in Beijing now that I'm fired up.
Per meter. Last year, the highest trend. China's economy is in a downturn, the job market is tight, and consumption willingness is declining. These factors combined have created many abnormal phenomena in China's big cities. These phenomena were unheard of in the past and highlight the current difficulties faced by China's economy. Inflation has intensified the pressure on the cost of living. The prices of daily necessities such as fruits and vegetables are rising rapidly, even catching up with the price of meat. This has increased the burden on residents' lives and greatly reduced their sense of happiness. In the video, we can see that spinach costs US 98 cents a handful in supermarkets in Beijing, and bok choy costs 56 cents. The portions are very small.
Well, wait a minute. 98 cents for spinach is not a lot of money. But again, this is the market. If the market doesn't buy it, they can't raise the price. So because spinach is 98 cents, if nobody bought it, spinach would go down to 58 cents. Rising prices are not inflation, as I've been hammering home the whole way. I am right, Pat. Think about it. So you got logic. So think about it. How in the fuck could they possibly roll it out to what, the world? To 10 billion people. They're going to roll it out. And do you think all these poor people, all these Muslims that come into these countries because they are running or they're terrorists or whatever, you think all these poor farmers, what are they going to use? How are they going to get a CBDC with what? All these people that deal in money. I mean, it's insanity to think they couldn't do it in a million years. I mean, it's not even conceivable to say they're going to control 10 billion people, a central bank. How big do you think the BIS is? And it only deals with the other major central banks. They're not set up for 10 billion people. Are you insane? Think, McFly. Think. You're not. It don't make sense.
Let me show you the price of vegetables in an ordinary supermarket in Shanghai. Cauliflower is US 84 cents. Broccoli is US 98 cents.
That's pretty
Beans
cheap.
are also
I got to
sold
go to
for US
Beijing to buy my
$1.26.
veggies.
Children from poor families are malnourished again. The life of ordinary people is really difficult. Fruits cost around $1, vegetables cost around 84 cents, and pork is even more outrageous, costing almost $4. What
Oh
else can
my
you buy
God.
for $14 now? A barrel of rapeseed oil, a carton of ordinary milk, 2 pounds of fresh meat, and 2 pounds of prawns.
That's pretty
In
good.
addition, gas bills have also increased inexplicably recently, doubling in price. It's summertime now. A month's electricity bill is estimated to be more than 140 US dollars. I don't know how those people with an income of only more than 600 US dollars can survive. It's worth noting that many white-collar workers in Shanghai have begun to bring their own lunches, and consumpon levels have dropped
I've
significantly.
been doing that for years.
The girl in the video lives on about $70 a month in Shanghai. 500 yuan living expense for 1 month in Shanghai on the 9th day of August. Good morning. I didn't even eat breakfast today. I only brought lunch to work. Just make do with it. After getting off work, I bought some chili sauce ingredients. I bought onions, cilantro, garlic, and peppers. In addition, I bought less than 5 pounds of eggplants and planned to make some dried eggplant. In the evening, I had steamed buns, sausages, and a glass of homemade lemonade. After finishing the meal, start working on the peppers and eggplant. Total spent today was $5.44. In big cities, young people from other places work hard. Some live in small basements, while others live in simple bungalows. Their income is barely enough to survive. This is the real life of a family of 4 living in a $70 rental house in Beijing. In the video, we can see that the family lives in bunk beds and has no bathroom. They can only wash their faces and brush their teeth in the yard. The kitchen is old.
Now, do you want communism? That's what you get. That's what inflation does. It makes the value of the dollar go away. People cannot afford to buy because the prices go up, but they don't make any more money. Things cost more, although these prices are a joke. 84 cents for these veggies, like, dude, it's $2.99 here for my cauliflower. What do you 84 cents? But they don't make anything. Now, are these highly skilled people? Probably not. This is the problem with communism. The execs steal all the money and the regular people don't get anything. And meanwhile, she's eating steak and potato every night. Anyway, I don't want to depress everybody, but that's the problem with it, right? That's the dollar losing its value. I'm not even going to call it inflation anymore because I don't know what it is. It's just the dollar has no more value because you printed it. That's it. Bottom line. So that's where we're at. And believe me, it's going to leave China. It's coming here. It's going to leave the UK. It's France, Germany, Canada, Japan, Zimbabwe, Venezuela. It all comes back to haunt because they can't buy your goods. And once they can't buy your goods, you can't sell them. You can't make money. You can't hire people. Nobody's working. Nobody's making money to be able to buy anything. It's a whole domino effect. And that's why you own gold, because gold will hold its value. So people not afraid of the dollar going away are in for a big surprise, because that's exactly what it is. The dollar going to zero and you got 4 million. That's why I tell you, Warren Buffett, he got 25 billion monopoly money, and he's not afraid of the dollar going to zero. He should be. He should be in the gold, but he's not. They don't get it. So there's not a lot you can do. You can't help somebody who doesn't understand or won't try to understand. Oh, the dollar can't go away. Oh, yeah, it has several times. So don't be naive. What do you think happened to Rome, fella? That was Rome. That was Nero. That was, all the crazy emperors. Well, we got crazy emperors now all over the world: France, Germany, China, the U.S. We got these idiots, Biden running the place. So that's you have Nero running the place. Anyway, I think that's about it. So be very afraid of the dollar going out. That would be my number one fear. So gold protects you from the dollar going out, because gold can't go out because you can't print it. You can't inflate gold. You can't print it. It will only go up in value, especially against the dollar, which it's supposed to do. When the dollar loses value, it should go up. But that's not what's happening because of the comex. But brics is going to break that up for us, so everything will be fine. But that's really your problem is the dollar going out, and you can't keep printing it. It's like I say, you can't eat a chocolate cake every day and not expect to gain weight. Oh, I won't gain weight. I didn't gain weight yesterday. I'm going to have another chocolate cake today. Well, I won't gain weight. Okay, we're going to keep printing dollars, but no, nothing will happen. The dollar won't lose its value even if we keep printing it. Okay. Good luck, fellas. Well, Pat, I am right. You should use your logic. Just understand it. How can they possibly? How are they going to control everybody? What are they going to say? I'm going to go. I'm going to use my credit card at the gas station. They're going to say you can't use it. That's the craziness. Believe me, the owner doesn't want to not take my charge either. So there's a whole lot of things these bankers are too stupid to understand. All right, with that, I am calling it a night. So I did the baseball one earlier. Tomorrow is Friday. We'll definitely look at college football. And then Saturday, the game's posted. So if you're waiting, you don't need to wait anymore. My picks are posted. I will post next week's, which will be a 2-weeker. So if you bought this week, you'll get this week and next week, because there's only 2 games this week, or you can join a class, your choice. And that's what's going on. So www.teaserking.com. Picks are posted. Just purchase the pick and and then bet the game, and then we'll get the following weekend. Pros, you got preseason. I don't know what we're going to learn that we haven't seen. And Caleb ain't all that. So don't be stoic about it. Don't look at ESPN. He's the greatest player to ever play type of bullshit. Where Lamar's go. I was watching, and Lamar's so good. Yeah. They were just showing his completed passes, all 5 of them. So don't buy that. Stay stoic. You know what to do with your gold and your money. And when other people start telling you, "Oh no, I've got my 401k," you got to be stoic and say, "I know I'm right, and there's nothing you're going to tell me that's going to change my mind." because I'm sure of it. So that's what we got. Anyway, have a good night. www.teaserking.com. Time for dinner. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a good night, and I will probably be in the afternoon tomorrow. All right. Take care.